Welcome to the second part of the tutorial of the React.js rock paper scissor game. In this part I will show you exactly how to set up Redux in the React app and use that in this case for displaying the counter right here on the navbar to just count the games performed and the wins, losses, draws, etc. So I will begin with searching for Redux documentation. You can see there on the official site, get started. Okay, I will use the npm command. I will create another terminal, install it. It will take a while. Okay, it's done. So basically, why do we need a Redux here? We need a Redux to pass the variable which counts the total games performed and of course the particular wins and losses and draws. It's very difficult to make it by prop driven. So what is meant by that? When I change the URL, I pass the item ID, then I will generate a random item ID of the computer picked item and check based on the choices list if I beating the computer or computer wins with me. Here we have this bits ID, loss ID and ID of the item. And then it will be checked and updated in the state in the React application. So we have it installed and right now I can start performing the basic setup of the Redux, and it will be done with starting with the index.js file, and there I will have to import the provider from the React Redux like that. Okay, and I can perform the provider here. And what is meant by that? I have to wrap entire app component to pass the variable which I will be updating. So there is an app component which has imported components like Navbar, game, etc. And if I have the provider here, everything I store in the provider can be accessed in the entire application throughout different levels. So it's not needed to pass like in the tree from the top to the bottom and then go and pass the different levels. It will be just accessible from entire application point. Another thing what I will be needed right now is creating the store, and to make a store I have to create a new folder in the source directory. I will call it app, and inside of the app folder I will create the store.js. I'm not typing. Store.js. Right now I can create a store, and this store will be passed inside the index.js file in the provider. So in the provider I have to pass the store, which will be imported from the store file, and inside of the store file I will use the Redux and I have to import configure store from Redux with Redux.js toolkit. Then I will have to attach a slice, so I will just comment it to remember about it. And here I have to export by default configure store Reducer, and I'm using the counter here, so counter Reducer. So counter reducer has to be imported from the slices, so I will just create the slices folder, and it will be looking like that. New folder, slices, and in slices I have to create a slice .js. And inside the slice.js I will import the create slice from the Redux toolkit, and using that I'm creating the slice of the counter by constant counter slice is equal to create slice name. I will name it counter because it will be counting the wins, losses and total games. Initial state is wins 0, loses 0, draws 0. I can go further. Reducers 1, state arrow function state wins, and increment it by 1. So the one reducer will update the state of wins by incrementing it by 1. So every time I will win, I will call the reducer of 1 and update the win state. I have to create analogically the same for lost and draw. I'll just copy paste and customize it to lost state losses right here. Okay. Draws state draws. Then I have to export, and I'm exporting won, lost and draw is these reducers, which are destructured from the counter slice dot actions, because it's behind the actions in this counter slice. Export by default counter slice reducer. So basically what it's doing to my custom function of updating the on, loss and draws. So I have to do it by creating a slice. So every time I need a custom solution for the Redux, like right now it will store the on, loss and draws total games. It will be called counter because it's counting. I update the initial state and reducers. And for example, if I would like to create another one, I have to just create another slice. In the slices, of course, I would call it differently because this React application will consist only one slice. I just called it slice.js. To continue the Redux setup, I have to import the slice in the store. So I'm going to the store and just importing that here. Counter reducer, it's in the store and provided to the provider. Okay, I have to provide it also. It's provided but not in the global style, but in the provider. There is an error because the React Redux is not installed. So I have to install it. npmi React Redux. And it's installed right now. Store is not defined. Okay, because it's not imported. So I have to import it right now. And I'm just importing. It's ready. To check if it's working, I will go create a Navbar and just take the initial state of the Redux. Before applying this Redux into the app, I will quickly explain how it will work. So I have this app component, and inside app I've created the game, the choices. So there are choices, game, and I'm passing the item ID in this example through the routes, so it's read from the URL. But if I have to pass the state, the variable which contains the performed games, which counts that. So for example, I played the first game, I won, there is one game played. Then the second game, and I have to have there the counts. Total games. And there will be a number 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And to achieve that, I cannot just take props and perform the prop drilling, so I can't pass prop like that or take a prop because it has to be in the nav. Nav will be created, navbar will be created right here. So navbar will be always visible, like below the up level, but upside the choices game and also will be visible. And in this navbar will be a counter, so it's not possible to make it with the prop drilling. And I have to create something like a big onion, which will create the provider. So this is the literally the provider. Yeah, I'm wrapping the entire app in this provider. I store a store, and store is just configured with the slices. I can make multiple slices, slice 1, slice 2, etc. I can pass it to the store by configuring it, but in this application I have only one slice, and this slice is implemented here, and I have an initial state. So initial state is created. Wins, loses, draws. I can create any variable I want. There are some functions called reducers functions, which update these variables. They have the initial state, and after reducing with the reducer, I can update the state of them and export, pass to the store. It's in the provider, and I can take it from any level of the application, from any component inside the app component. I can even have here a choice, because we created, and take the state in the choice. So it's a big web. I hope you understand. We'll make another tutorial with the deeper understanding of that, but right now I think it's sufficient, and it's super clean. Not super clean, but clean to perform the entire rock paper scissor game. If you don't understand the Redux, you can skip the part with the counter. Only focus on the random function, which will generate the computer item choice and the result, which will be displayed without counting that. So I'm using the Redux in the Navbar. I close the whiteboard, I close documentation, and go directly create a counter, and it will be achieved with the Navbar component. So in the component I will create a nav.js. I will use the shortcut RFC React functional component. It's exported, and I can apply it in the app.js. And right now, below the div but above the switch, I will import the nav. Because I want to have nav visible in every subpage. Like, I will go to the game, I will pick the rock, I play, and I have the navbar still here and the game. So there are things to do, and I will start with the nav, and in nav I will create a style component literally, the navbar. I will import the style. This navbar will have the position absolute, so setting it top to 0, it will always be at the top. Height 100 pixels, width 100%, so it will be on entire width. Display flags, it will be the flags container with the children's aligned in the center, justified space between, with the padding and background color Alice blue. So I can use it here. It's visible right now. And what is needed right here is the counter component, which is not created, but in a moment I will go to the components and create a counter. Counter.js, RFC, counter, I can import in the Navbar, counter is here, and there will be the magic stuff happen. So if we discussed how the Redux work, I can import the use selector hook from React Redux, and using this selector I can just take the state from the slice I created from these values with losses. I expect when I take without any appropriate reducers made, without any updates, I expect just an initial state here. So I'm going to use it, and I will declare wins is equal to use selector state counter wins, and analogically loses draws, loses draws, and another variable total, and it will be equal to the sum of above variables. So total games performed is just the sum of wins, losses and draws. I have this variable right here, and I will create a container for this container. This container will have the props CSS styling like this, so every paragraph right here we will have the margin top to just divide wins, losses and draws. Flex direction will be a column to display it in the column, and every span will be separated with the margin. And to show it directly, I'm creating the paragraph total games is equal to total. Style is not important. Total games 0, so Redux is working. Let's check it. I hope it's working. In the paragraph I will have spans, 3 spans, and include wins, losses, draws, and we'll comment there that the number of wins is wins, losses, draws. It's looking good, I think. So I have updated it here, and let's jump to the game component where all the game will happen. I will create the random function for generate the computer pig. To start coding the game component, I have to create some helper functions. So I will go to the helpers, and right here I will have to create a get random function just to generate the random number from the ID from the minimal value of 1 to 3, because I have in the choices list only 3 items. It's how this game working, so there is no way to create 4 items, only rock, paper, scissors, not more. So it is made really simple. I'm exporting that, of course, export constant get random int minimal maximum, and minimal number will be math cl min. So I will just make this number integer, max math floor maximum, and return math random multiplied by max minus minimum plus minimum, and it's in the brackets. I have to floor that to have an integer number. To achieve a random number, I have declared a minimal number with the math.cl function, so it's taking the nearest integer number and make it above greater number, first greater integer number. Math floor just takes the lower integer number from this max. So if I have decimal number, for example, here 1.9, it will take 1. If I have 1.1, it will take also 1. And in this case, if I will have the 0.9, I will return a 0. Maybe it's not a good example with the 0, but if I have 1.9, it will return the 1. So if I will pass there numbers 1 and 4, I will have minimal. Okay, I will make it here. I will have the minimal 1, maximum 4, and there in the brackets math random function just returns the random number between 0 and 1, so it can be like 0.789, and it will be multiplied by difference between maximum and minimum. Right here will be 3, and I will achieve about 2.2. Then I will add a minimal number 1 and floor it to the lower integer number, and it will take 3. Yeah, so after multiplying it, I will add minimal and floor it. It will be, this equation will be above 3, but math floor will take it and return the lower integer number, which is 3. If there will be 0.3 multiplied by 3, it's 0.9, and add in 1, there will be 1.9, floor, there will be 1, so the computer picked the ID 1. It's how this random integer function works. And I can go and create another function which will be slightly different and just check if the game is won, and it's export constant check if won. I will pass selected item, computer's item, choices, arrow function, constant selected item details is equal to choices, and I have to find in the choices an item with item ID equal to the selected item. Okay, it's made with that, so I'm just taking the details of the selected item by finding the proper item which is selected. Let battle details is equal to an empty object, const item cover is equal to get image selected item details. Name is the function created before, so I'm passing the name. If rock, I return the PNG of the rocks, paper, analogical paper, scissors, scissors. So item cover is done, and I'm making the if statement, and if selected item details bits ID is equal to computer's item, I will return bottle details with the object 1 true, item selected item details, name, opponent selected item details, bits, because computer is losing with us, so we are taking the bit and ID. Item cover is equal to item cover, computer's item cover is equal to get image selected item details bits. Is the first statement when we just won the battle, and I have to create another else if for the losing part and for the draw, and it's analogically made like else if, and there will be a statement selected item details lose id is equal to computers item, and I will make quickly for the else return bottle details object one is draw item selected item details name item cover is item cover. Between that I should apply the opponent and selected. I can just copy that because of course the opponent should have the same item, and computers item cover should be also the same as the picked by user. Computers item cover. So there is a losing part needed. I will copy that and just take one false item select item details name opponent lose item cover and computers item cover is with the lose. And we have three returns in our functions, and these two functions required in the game are created, so we are going to finish the game part. Let's go to the game component and finish this application. So I have declared the params, so I'm taking the ID from the URL. For example, there will be ID of my item, rocks have the ID 1, so it's working, console log is working, and I have to make computer choice is equal to get random integer, and this random should be between 1 and 3. Our function works like that I have to pass 4 to select an item between with the ID 1 or 2 or 3. I will also use the dispatch from the React Redux. And how this hook is working, it's working like a big injection, so I had this state around the application with the provider, and I can take different values from the initial states and the data state, and I can update the state of these values inside the store by this hook. So if I win the game, I will use the helper function check if won. I will have the return value, so I will know if I won. If I won, I will use the dispatch and increase the amount of wins and the total games. So, okay, I have to now check the result. Constant result is equal to check if won. I will pass the number params item ID. It's a quick trick because params item ID is a string file, type of string, so in the console log I saw, and I'm changing it to number. I will pass also computer's choice and the choices list. Choices list is not defined, so I will import it. It's our JSON file with all the rules from the game. It's here, and I have the result, and what is more, I can check in the console what the result is. And I can update the state, so maybe I will just check. I will pick paper and the result is draw, so the same item ID was selected. Also draw. Okay, I will check it in the React Redux. So I'm creating the use effect hook. Syntax of the use effect is presented here, and everything inside the use effect will be run with the statement inside of this array. So if it's empty array, it will be run every time the component is rendered, but I want to restrict it to every time the result will be changed. Not XPath, the result will be changed. And here, if result 1 is true, dispatch 1. I have to also import from the slices reducers. Else if result 1 is equal to draw, dispatch draw, else dispatch lost. So right now the state of the won, loses and draws will be updated and displayed here. Refresh. I'm going to the game, and what happened? There is an error. I think it's with the slices. So after rendering our solution, there are some errors, and these errors are in the slice, in slice.js file. So there is missing the reducer in the import export, and it's also missing the register here, not missing, but there is an error with the draw function, and accidentally we had a draw result in our game, so it threw an error. Again, draw, only draws. Okay, let's debug that because we have now initial state 2. So we are going to the game component and we are finishing exactly what is inside these divs, and to make it pretty clean I will create a function to render the banner, render banner result. Of course it's not defined, so above that constant render banner it's an arrow function. I will destructure the result object with the on item opponent item cover computers item cover and I will turn the container inside the container game details, inside there will be a title, inside the title I will render header, not like that but like that. I will pass the one variable, here another div to make it clean, 2 images, so basically there will be shown the picked by me image of an item and by the computer. So I am adding the source item cover another image computers item cover, below another title, but their title will be slightly different. I will inject a string with the variables and variable item. There I will render details, pass 1. So basically what is about that, this rendering, I will explain right now after finishing this line. Opponent so I will display the images of the picked item and the computer's picked item, render header with the pass 1, so this function will just show if the battle is won, lost or draw. Here will be another title, for example Rocks beat Scissor if I picked rock and I won. When I picked rock and I lost with the paper, there will be render details. Rock loses with paper. And link to another game, to home, play button, play again. Okay, so much components to add. So I will quickly add these components. Have to import styled. Have to import the link from React DOM. And two functions are missing. And I'm going to explain what I've done with the divs. There is a container with the width 100%, height 100 VH, so it takes all the height displayed in the browser. Centering our children here, game details, it's restricted to the max width and max height. It's a flex container with the children's in the direction of column, justified and aligned to the center, an image with the width of 200 pixels, and image inside is staying with the properties, so it's object will contain. It doesn't mean that it's blurred or it's stretched. It has it's just fitted inside this width without any losing of the quality. Title header 1, so it's the biggest tag of the header. So I have to declare the render header. Param. And there we'll do it with switch. Case true. Return you won. Case false. Return you lose. And by default return draw and render details. Param. I will copy that and case true return bits, so there will be rock bits scissors if I picked scissors and I won. If I lost, will be loses with, and draws. And we see what the problem, what the bug is here. So I'm picking the rocks. There is draw because undefined, and that's the problem we had, that we always draw because the selecting part is not working correctly. So let's take care of that, and I think the application will be ready and we can have fun with playing the iconic game of rock, paper and scissors. In our application there is one bug which prevents us to make a game going with the correct rules. So there is always undefined picked item and by computer side also. So it's obviously in the checkIfOne function, and there is one error. Selected item has no ID prop. So right now, after clicking play, I have the exact images, rock loses with paper. Play again. I have two loses with one action, so keep in mind. Also on, two wins, so everyone play causes the two renders, and two renders causes the 2 times incrementation here. So result is rendered 2 times, use effect is proceeded 2 times, and is dispatched also 2 times inside the one row or load. To eliminate this problem with 2 times rendering, I have to delete in the index.js the React strict mode, which can be easily removed in our program, the beginner version of that, because what this React strict mode is doing, it's rendering 2 times entire application to just check or highlight the potential problems in the application, like different warnings and bugs. So without that, the entire app is rendered only once, and counting is also made once. So like you can see, I can perform different games right now. It's not so bad. Too much draws, loses. Okay, so I'm losing with the computer, and that's how we build that. For our needed, we could delete it. It's not causes any potential problems with that, but in advanced version of the application it will be done in another way. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I hope it was very helpful and you could understand the beginner friendly subjects in the process of building the first React application. There were some different difficult topics like Redux and handling the CSS styling with the styled components, but I hope it was explained accurate, and you can just remember that, and in further potential tutorial you will have something called like pattern recognition, so it will be very easy to adapt to that and learn more and build your own application, customize and get a job. Thank you so much, and see you in next tutorial.